The next item on the agenda is a presentation entitled New Trade Media Live. Please welcome to the stage Chairman Neil Jagger.
Well, I need to change my aftershave, that is for certain. Good afternoon, NFRN. Well, that was interesting. I've never sat through anything quite like that before, and I don't want to be next chairman either, so you can rule me out. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak at your annual conference. I'd just like to make a very small comment. You know, you're talking about supporting that staff member who lost his mum. I also, I'm the chief exec of News Trade, the industry's own charity. I'd just like to say that News Trade also supported that gentleman and his brother. So, thank you. And we're able to support because of the donations and the support that everyone in this room gives. So thank you very much on behalf of News Trade. I know it's not a News Trade thing, but I couldn't miss the opportunity to say thank you. So, this is Gohill, most of you know him. He'll be coming up on the screen in just a second. I want to take on a whistle-stop tour of New Trade Media, who we are, what we produce, and how we support you, the NFRN. This is particularly relevant because you, the NFRN, are our sole shareholder. So you own us, which is quite scary after watching this morning. Last time I stood here, Brian Murphy reminded me I was a publisher. I'm not anymore, but I was a publisher at that time, and you absolutely ripped me apart. So not today, because I'm on your team now and part of what you do. So just over a year ago, a new board was appointed at New Trade Media, and that board looks something like this. So this very handsome gentleman to my left, to your left, sorry, is Gohill. He's the MD of New Trade Media. He's been with the business for 5 years, having spent the majority of his career in finance-related roles. And he's a driving force behind what we do. Myself, I'm chairman of the New Trade Board. I've been in the news industry all of my working life. My most recent role was at Reach PLC, who published The Mirror and The Express and lots of regional titles. And I'm also the chief exec of News Trade Old Ben, which is our own charity. And the biggest group of beneficiaries of that charity are you, the retailers. Monty Depote sits on the New Trade Board. He needs no introduction to you guys. And he heads up our remuneration committee and is a very valued board member. And Andrew Taylor, who you also know, he's from Hull. You can tell by the accent, it's stronger than mine. And he's been a member of the NEC for the last 2 years, and Andrew will be heading up the audit committee for New Trade Media. Kamal Thackeray is here. He owns a business in Edgware in London. He's very active with branch and district NFRN activity and is a national councillor. And Stephanie Rice, who some of you might have met on Monday night, she's a consultant in the convenience retail world. And she's worked with New Trade for quite a few years, helping to shape the strategy and unlock new revenue opportunities for us. So that's the board. And whilst we've only been doing it for a year, and we haven't yet met in person, I think today is actually the first day that I met Andrew, Monty and Kamal in person. We'll be meeting an awful lot in Zoom, but in a few weeks' time we've got a strategy meeting and a board meeting where we are going to meet in person with the exec team for the first time. But the board has been working well in the lockdown phase, and we're heading in the right direction, and I hope that this presentation helps to demonstrate that. So what do we produce? Well, we produce a little more than just RN magazine. So this is a portfolio. So RN, or Retail News Agent as it was formerly known, is our key brand and sells around 8,000 copies each week to you and your colleagues in the industry. Retail Express is printed every fortnight and is distributed to 42,000 retailers. It's had a very strong year financially as more manufacturers and suppliers have used it as a vehicle to launch new products that were delayed because of the impact of COVID. So a lot of MPD work has gone into Retail Express. Vape Retailer was launched last year to help ride the growing tide of vaping. Currently sells around 4,000 copies per issue. The Retail Success Handbook produces 6 issues each year and focuses on specific subjects such as alcohol, what to stock or technology, and it helps retailers to be more profitable. And Better Wholesaling Insight is aimed at 4,500 wholesale decision makers, and again is very subject driven. So the last one we did was what's the wholesale industry done to combat the effects of COVID. And then finally in the portfolio we've got our 2 websites, both driven by breaking news. One is aimed at retail, betterretail.com, and the other focusing on wholesale. So that's the current new trade portfolio. And we've got a strategy day coming up in the next couple of weeks, so don't be surprised if there are new additions to that portfolio. In terms of our events and insight, New Trade Media's main event in the calendar is the Independent Achievers Academy, the IAA. This is a year-round programme which helps retailers drive up in-store standards. It helps retailers to increase revenue and profitability. It's underpinned by a benchmarking process where you can compare aspects of your business and your store with others across the UK and identify possible growth areas. It's absolutely jam-packed with tips and advice, and it's a great way for a retailer to benefit from your peer group, to see what they're doing and how you can improve what you do. Unfortunately, COVID forced it to be a virtual online event this year, but next year we're going to be back up close and personal with a live event. Retail Together, some of you may well have participated in Retail Together. It's a monthly online event where retailers share issues and experiences. And it's been a really great addition, particularly during COVID, where we haven't been able to move and we've been socially restricted. It's been a really good source of content for New Trade's portfolio. It's helped us to build great relationships with retailers, but it's also helped retailers just to share experiences. How are you getting through COVID? What are you doing? And I think it's helped with people's mental health for those that have been a part of it. And finally, we launched New Trade Insight. This provides our suppliers and FMCG companies with in-depth knowledge and research of the convenience sector, of the sector in which you work, which is not as well known as it should be. And it's proving to be a really strong source of new revenue for New Trade Media, and it's providing new sales opportunities for retailers as well. So I began by saying how we support independent retailers. These are some ways in which we do, and don't expect you to read all the words, and if you do, your eyesight's better than mine. But the first example, the RN unlocks £617 million. This concerns government funding for small businesses during the COVID crisis. The concept was a great one, so the government actually got it right. They were there to help the UK's independent retailers get much needed funding during the early stages of the pandemic. All makes absolute sense. Our editor Jack Cortez, alongside Ian Sloan of Bankier Sloan, yes, everybody's favourite, he decided to investigate how the UK government was distributing that funding. The idea was that the small business grants funds that were announced by the government would be delivered by local authorities. Small businesses such as you guys, which are crucial for shoppers in many communities, were reassured that you get some of that funding. But despite much of that funding being allocated, what Jack unearthed was that a lot of money was still unclaimed. The local authorities were still holding that money. What the government had done, they'd overestimated the number of businesses that would be eligible, so they'd given out more money than potentially was needed, and local councils were therefore sitting on that money, on hundreds of millions of pounds, which should have gone to businesses such as yours. Jack challenged the government on this, and his tireless work and his quick action led to an announcement on the 2nd of May 2020 by Alok Sharma, who was the Secretary of State at the time. That action led to £617 million being unlocked and being distributed correctly to the small businesses who need it, rather than sitting with local councils who didn't. So, well done, Jack. The second example, shorter example, was an investigation by our award-winning editor of Retail Express, Megan Humphrey. This led to retailers being compensated for underpayments by My Hermes. Now, we're not dragging up My Hermes as a bad example. However, they were underpaying for parcel work. Following pressure from Megan My Hermes did admit, we've had a data issue at the end of last year and it resulted in a number of mistakes in payments, and as a result, retailers were financially compensated for lost earnings. So again, forcing that pressure into the right areas, we're able to unlock money that should have been with you. And the final example, this is how we work well with the NFRN. So in the Stand Up to Retail Crime campaign, Megan Humphrey, working with the NFRN, in fact a lot of the doors were opened by the NFRN, so thank you. Megan was able to inform the all-party parliamentary group on retail crime that a substantial investment was needed in the most hard-hit areas, and it would make a huge difference to independent retailers. And in order to help retailers, a grant of £22.5 million was unlocked to help fight local crime issues. So again, working with the NFRN, that was able to happen. So these are just 3 examples of how our good investigative journalists, who may not always sit on the right side of you guys and may sometimes say things that you don't like, the good thing is they don't give up. They are investigative, that's their role. They have to remain independent, otherwise they just become self-serving, and we're not going to do that. But when they're given their heads, they produce some excellent results. And I'd just like to run a short video here that demonstrates how the team at New Trade helped support retailers, particularly in the COVID times.
I really found the support that we received from Better Retailing in these difficult times around the COVID pandemic really helped me out with current affairs, gave me some really great ideas on my business development. And on top of that, it gave me an opportunity to talk to like-minded people and just maintain my own bit of sanity.
Securing £600 million in funding for small businesses during the pandemic last year was a huge win for our sector. We are dedicated to fighting the corner of independent retailers and supporting them in developing stronger businesses.
For New Trade, for helping all the retailers throughout lockdown. We thank you, we love you.
I've still got a bit more yet. As I previously mentioned, we do help retailers become more profitable through our events and insight. And as an example, one of the Independent Achiever Academy's categories focuses on availability. And by using the ideas and techniques that were in that category, one participating retailer increased confectionery sales by a massive 30%, just following best practice. Just looking at the best tips and advice, mainly from colleagues within the industry, from other people in the benchmarking process. Another example, working with Alpro and using best-in-class merchandising, saw a retailer grow profits by almost £500 on a relatively small in-store range. So I just encourage you to use those resources and tools that are available. In terms of our Retail Success Handbook, the What to Stock issue covers 60 different categories, which helps retailers stock the best-selling products that otherwise you might be unaware of. You're not to know everything in the world. The Retail Success Handbook helps you to focus on the categories that will drive up revenue and profit. And in Retail Newsagent each week, it's too small for you to see, but we have a price watch guide, and that will identify a product and shows what price retailers across the country are selling it for. And in this example, there's a price of a certain bottle of rum, and it ranges in price from £13.99 to £26.99. And this guide helps you to set the most realistic prices that you can to increase your turnover. And this is in RN every week, every single week. We do a similar thing, sorry, I didn't press that, there we go. A similar thing, which is a wholesale price watch checker, and this analyses price points of products sold at various wholesalers. And that in turn helps you, the retailer, work out the best margin to help grow profits. And again, in the example there that you won't be able to read, this showed the wholesale selling price of a lemon-flavoured gin, and it varied by over £3 across 5 different wholesalers. That can make a huge difference to your profit margin. So again, these tools are there to help you. And here is a second video that helps to bring to life the advice and support that we give to retailers through their own words.
It's a great publication, and especially the people that run it, it makes my business more relevant to the retail trade by reading this magazine. And that's the best thing about it, because we're learning more.
It benefits me because I get to hear about what's coming out and what new things are sort of being looked at, how certain suppliers are working.
Even if you don't get into the top 100, it makes you analyze your store, evaluate, and you will just from that process come away with a few suggestions to improve your store. So I think it's really, really good. It's very helpful.
For the business, I think it helped to put us right on the map and to sort of make people more aware of the business in the shop. Big celebration when we were in the top 100.
Amish, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very, very chuffed. Thank you very much for this.
Clearly, I hope you're getting the sense that I'm very proud of the New Trade team. I'm very proud of the awards and the achievements that the team members have won in the last couple of years. 3 of our journalists appeared in a list of the top 30 under 30-year-olds that was put together by the PPA. And this is effectively saying these are the people to look out for in the future. These are the trailblazers. We also won the PPA's Content Piece of the Year, going up against the country's top business-to-business magazines, and we won it. And as you can see, there's a host of other citations there. And just put that up to give the reassurance that we're employing quality people who are very good at what they do. So very briefly, 2020 was a year of success. It was a tough year, it was a COVID year, but the team under Parin's leadership worked exceedingly hard. So in a challenging year of COVID, which caused so much uncertainty across so many business sectors, we were able to provide a contribution of £205 to the NFRN, and we helped the move to Bede House in Durham with a loan facility. We grew our advertising market share. We grew copy sales of RN, so thank you. Of course, our events programme was decimated. COVID wouldn't allow us to put events on in the way that we were traditionally used to. But in spite of all of that, our net profits were ahead of budget, ahead of the previous year. The team performed really well in what was a work-from-home year, and I'm really proud we didn't miss a deadline. And it's difficult producing products when you're working from your living room, from your bedroom, and you've got your partner and your kids in the same London flat as you, but you still have to hit every single deadline. And the team did that absolutely miraculously. So into 2021, how's this year looking? Well, we're still growing. We're growing advertising sales. They're up against budget. They're up against last year. More companies are using our portfolio to promote those products that were delayed because of COVID. Copy sales of RN, they'll achieve budget, and we're actually seeing growth year on year in the second half of this year. Might be down to some of the new members that you guys have recruited. So we forecast that profit for 2021 will see further growth against budget, and against last year, and we're confident that we'll be able to pay a higher dividend back to you, our owners. We've still got a quarter to go, and it's an important quarter coming up to Christmas, but the signs are looking good that the dividend will grow year on year. We quite clearly support the NFRN in many ways other than just the money. We've got a dedicated NFRN page within RN, which our editorial team work largely with Anne Bingham on putting together each week. There are regular stories and features in Retail Express, and there are advertisements and promotional campaigns such as the Bookers one that's obviously attracted a lot of attention this morning. We were promoting that across our portfolio as well. This support extends into social media with stories referencing back to the Fed online and working together again with the NFRN staff. So, of course, we support the NFRN because you own us. It's critical that we do. And it's a two-way street, and we look forward to working more and more closely with you. So that effectively concludes my presentation today. I look forward to continuing working with the NFRN to help drive your membership through the work that we can do in our products. To help members grow their business, that's absolutely critical. Support members by tackling issues that affect them, by taking on the corridors of power and hopefully winning. To grow sales of RN, so please, as you're looking for new members and so on, will you recommend that people buy RN as well? Because the profits from RN go straight back to you, the NFRN, so it's an absolute virtuous circle. So please, if you don't buy it yourself, don't leave the room until we've taken a subscription from you. And if you know anyone else that doesn't buy it, please encourage them to, because it's your profits that are impacted positively. Thank you very much for your attention. Just before we finish, I know Stuart's right over there, so we'll do this at a later stage, but we have a bound, it's tradition that we give bound copies of Retail Newsagent to the, it's coming across, to the President. So you could ask, why would anybody want a year's worth of RNs? Well, we've done it every year, so we'll do it again. There are actually 6 of these. Yeah. I think this represents just a few months. So there are 6 different versions, but so this one is presented to Stuart as the National President. Stuart, thank you for your support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers, Parent. Thank you. Wow.
So, thank you so much for your attention. And I wish you a good rest of conference, although I don't know if you've finished now. So on that note, I'll say thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Question? You can't escape that quick. Just a couple of points that I'd like to make. I think our relationship with yourselves over the last 2 years has come on leaps and bounds. It's better than it's ever been. And I think both the top table and yourselves are making that link closer like it should have been in the past. I also think your IIA events are outstanding and really good for the trade. The other thing I picked up on there was better retailing. We had a motion from one of our districts that are quite forward-thinking and coming on leaps and bounds, that's Scotland, about Zoom meetings with like-minded retailers. By the sound of it, you're already doing it. And you're saying you're getting a lot of benefit, a lot of things from that. So perhaps you could talk to some of the districts, especially Scotland, develop that further, because if you're benefiting from it, it won't be a cost to the Federation. It should give you more information, more reporting, and it should help our districts as well. So perhaps you could look at that and follow that up, please.
Thanks, Ray, and that's noted.
Yeah, certainly one of the things that I would like to do, I've been in the chair for a little while, but it's been in COVID. Now that we're coming out of COVID, I'd love to spend more time being able to come and talk to district meetings about the work that we do, and just not educating, I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but just letting people know more of what we've talked about today and spreading the word a little more, because you're right, Ray, it's a really good resource.
Next question.
Kishore Chandra, London District. With your expertise and experience in news trade, can't you help us sort out our newspaper bills or newspaper delivery services? Sorry, I'm just talking about it. All I want to say, a big thank you. What you have achieved in the last couple of years, during COVID times, you connected all the retailers throughout the country. A big thank you for that one. And having Zoom meetings and everything helped us a lot. You are connecting through your magazines all the retailers throughout UK and Ireland too. So we know what's going on. We have got our Fed as well, but yours is weekly, so helps us a lot. All I want to say, thank you very much and keep up the good work. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kishore.
Your next question.
I just want to say, as follow-up to Ray, I actually attend their meetings, and I think it's a fantastic resource. That's why I think we should have open that to the NFRN and its members as well. The resource that they provide is open to everybody, not just NFRN. Having said that, I want to say a special thank you to RN. I think in this last year, and especially in the last 6 months, the work that they've done, the actual product that they're producing, the RN magazine, is fantastic. Absolutely, the resource that I've used, it's been a pleasant read. Every time Better Retailing pops up on my email, I'm constantly pushing it onto our council straight away as soon as it comes in, because it's straight onto the point, and Jack is really on it, fantastic, and he deserves that award, hence why I was doing the whoop whoop earlier on. So let me ask you this. What more can we do to help you go further?
Well, Neil's already said promote RN. It drives standards, it drives your profits at the end of the day. But importantly, keep communicating with our retailer experts, our journalists, who can help support you as well. It's a two-way partnership.
Okay,
Thank you,
speaker.
Yeah, Abdul Qadir, Scotland. You know, this pandemic really knocked me out, so I'm looking for all the freebies that are going. And one of the best places is betterretailing.com. I mean, it's so easy. Just go on it for 2 minutes on your smartphone, click a link, and there's always stuff there being given away. And if you put your name, it just asks for your store details, and that's about it. And you're in the draw. And I've had a few deliveries come. It's been a good surprise. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker.
Thank you, Abdul.
Thank you, Praveen Shah, London. Absolutely fantastic. The video presentation, brilliant. I just want to say, obviously you mentioned regarding branch meetings where, in the previous years, we used to see your writers, editors, and to carry on again, if you can. Possibly, I know Neville and Louise used to come to our London branches, and it is just a part of communication, and I'm sure it does help. Secondly, a big thank you. Obviously, you have helped this organization so well. Not today, not last 10 years, long time ago. A big thank you. Parveen, Neil, absolutely fantastic. Carry on the good work.
Okay, thank you, everybody. New Trade, thank you.
Thank you.